Welcome to the Couch Time Podcast, where we give you tools to connect with your kids and point them to Jesus. I'm Josh.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Steven, and we're here
with
the very new, I
don't know if you can hear drum roll.
First time on the podcast, introducing the one and only new high school student ministry director of the Florence campus, Ryan Conlon.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, everyone. Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Ovation, yes.
Oh,
he actually is the tool that we are going to give you guys to help you connect with your kids and point them to Christ.
That's right. Wow. No pressure.
Ryan is a tool.
Right.
No, that didn't sound right. That's not. Shoot. I did not mean to. Sorry about that. That's not. No. Okay.
So,
all right.
First question.
Oh no. We said that we were going to be talking. So, as you guys can see, we forgot to talk about this, but Aaron and I are currently at home on Zoom because we were exposed to COVID, and our church is asking that if you were, exposed primarily, that you quarantine for 2 weeks. So Aaron and I are at home. We are participating on Zoom. That's why Independence had to cancel student ministry for a couple weeks. I think Kyle's getting to run Fort Thomas stuff while Aaron's gone, so they're still up and rolling. But we're trying to submit to what we've been asked to do, what the CDC is recommending that we do in order to keep everybody as safe as possible. We're feeling good. We're feeling healthy. We haven't had any symptoms yet, but we're still waiting to get our results back. So we are away and missing out on Ryan's first day, but we're still excited that we could join on the Zoom call. So.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add, go back and listen to the episode of To Mask or Not to Mask that we did. And things seem to be, I don't know, Josh, Ryan, you're brand new, Ryan, in the area, but Josh, Steven, it's like, I personally am feeling COVID. It's hitting closer to home than it has this year at all. I know more people that have tested positive. I know more people that are quarantining either because of it or because of exposure to it. And student ministry, there's students that are not there. There's leaders that cannot attend. And so it's getting real. And we have asked our volunteer leaders as well as students or whatever, just kind of our mentality and philosophy is what Steven said, and we want to submit to what the elders have said. And so it's, we're taking it real serious because we want to keep meeting in person.
Right. That's the goal.
So it's like, if we continue to, with a good attitude, submit, we want to seek to honor the Lord in doing that. But also it's like, we really want to keep meeting in person for as long as we can. And if we socially distance and we wear masks when we're not socially distancing or can't socially distance, it's like that hopefully will continue to help us meet in person and continue to do so weekly. Furthermore, that's why, Josh, Steven, we don't have to talk about all the details now, but like winter retreats and other stuff over this holiday season and, the flu season, it's like, we're not going to be doing one-off events that could potentially jeopardize us being able to have regularly weekly meetings. So,
or at least not
that's
the
kind of the goal. That's where we stand.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're switching things up and we're taking it a week at a time. It almost feels like we're going back to how it was in March, just the whole every day, every week. It's like, what? We're not sure what's going to happen. We might get back to virtual ministry. We hope not. We're going to plan not to, but it might. We don't know.
Yep.
Trusting God, taking it one step at a time. So, Ryan, welcome to Kentucky.
Yes.
This podcast is dedicated to you. And so, yes, first question I've got for you is, what are your first how do you feel about Kentucky so far?
So far, I'm really enjoying. That's a good question. My first impression of Kentucky, I'm moving from Colorado, the Boulder area, and it's beautiful, but it's very brown. It is very green here.
Yes.
I love it. I've been disc golfing this past week. I had a week off, and it was glorious. There were trees.
Where did you play?
I played Idlewild 3 times, and then I played.
Holy cow!
Yeah, my arm about fell off, and then what's the other good one? It's something.
Lincoln Ridge.
Lincoln Ridge.
Boone Woods.
Lincoln Ridge. I played Lincoln Ridge one time. That was great.
What did you shoot? What did you throw at Idlewild?
I threw.
And how many discs did you lose?
I lost.
You threw frisbees, Steven.
I lost 0 discs, which was a major accomplishment for me. I threw
That is a major accomplishment.
I threw 13 over 3 straight times. I mean, that course.
Yes.
So I got it.
Anybody listening, you're learning that Ryan is consistent. That's what we
I'm
just
very
got.
consistent, consistently mediocre, and I had a great time. That last hole, 18, about killed me.
Beast.
It's a beast.
It's a beast.
So, yeah, so I enjoyed that. I love having Skyline as a food option again in my life. I ate that several times this past week as well. Loved it. But yeah, so first impressions there, yes, very green. Love the disc golf. My wife has been at work for 2 weeks, and she says everyone is so sweet and kind to her, and I felt the same as well. So we've really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Awesome.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. Welcome. There's been other people that have moved to Kentucky, and they're like, everybody here still has all their teeth. Like, I was so surprised. Like,
Yes.
why are you not married to your cousin? I'm so surprised.
True story. I
So-
thought when I moved to Kentucky that everybody had a horse, and I was super disappointed that that was not the case. I was also 10 years old, so
Yeah.
give me a break.
That's
But,
about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody in Kentucky rides horses and drinks bourbon all the time. Like, that's what they do.
great. Right.
I was assured
yeah,
interview
fun.
1, I think Brian Fannin immediately, we all have our teeth here. Yeah,
Great.
so that was good.
That's awesome.
So
Not all, but you know.
Not most. Yeah, it's fine.
So, well, that's super cool. Welcome to Kentucky. I have another question. I want to know how you got into student ministry.
that's a good question as well. I got into student ministry. Well, I'll take a step back. I was not a Christian growing up. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. And I got into student ministry when, actually, shortly after I became a believer. I was 18. I was invited to go on a mission trip by a friend of mine in high school. And I went on this mission trip it was really more of a service trip to Philadelphia, inner city, as a non-believer. Met the youth pastor there. His name was Seth. And he would talk to me every night about Jesus and the Bible. And a longer story short, I became a believer on that trip and was mentored by him every year throughout my time in college at Ohio State. And shortly after I became a believer, probably too quickly, he asked me to become a volunteer in that same youth ministry that I was saved through. And so I started during my time in college at Ohio State, volunteered with this little youth group. It was great. Loved it. And so just a volunteer. And then by about my junior year in college, Seth was like, hey, have you considered going into vocational ministry? You've been great as a volunteer. You should consider this. I didn't even know that was an option. So did an internship with him. And yeah, it was great. Loved it.
How long did you
Yes.
How long did you intern for?
I interned with him. It was like I did like a little summer internship, and then he left my senior year, and so I had to be the interim guy of this little youth group, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It was
That's
a little
crazy.
overwhelming, but it was fun. So
Wow.
so I was like, yeah, that'd be good. So
Yep.
Well, Steven interned for a couple summers, and Josh
true.
interim.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
like there's both of those words are very
totally,
people can relate.
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
good way to get into it. So test the water.
Yep.
What happened next? I cut you off. You said you interned.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
right. Yeah. So I did like a little internship there, and then I graduated from Ohio State knowing that I wanted to pursue vocational youth ministry. So I took another internship. It was a 2-year internship at a church in Tennessee, an EFCA church. And so I was there 2 years, turned into 3 years as an intern, and that's where I met my wife, Emily, in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we got married shortly thereafter. Again, still loved student ministry, and then that's when I moved out to Boulder, Colorado, to be the youth pastor at a EFCA church in Boulder for the past 4.5 years. So, yeah, that's how I got into student ministry very quickly after I became a believer, and I've loved it ever since. Really feel it as a calling on my life, even just being a 18-year-old myself and coming to faith through a believing friend, I feel like the only Christian at my high school, inviting me to go on a service trip, me as a non-believer thinking, yeah, I like service. I like serving people. and then just being blown away by, I think just initially the kindness and the community of that group, and then people loving me well, and growing trust with the youth pastor and having really great conversations, and walls being broken down for me as a non-believer to come to faith. It's like, obviously that radically changed my life. And wanting that same thing for students, both believers and non-believers, is something that I became passionate about quickly. So
that's super cool.
Yep.
Josh, Steven, I'm curious to hear from all of us, but that's a perfect segue. What are you most excited about? So Josh, Steven, I want to answer this, but then Ryan, you too. It's like,
Sure.
what are you most excited about for the next year? I think I'm seeing stuff on social media. It's like everybody's so excited about 2021 and 2020 ending. And it's like, guys, it's not like as soon as January hits, like everything's not going to change. Like I'm pretty sure things are going to, yeah.
That was beautiful.
Dude, it's
wow.
I do karaoke
Steven
3 times. That's fine.
Steven's face was like, oh.
You just went there. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, that's really funny.
Not much sleep last night. It's
What are you
great.
most excited about?
What are you most excited about for the next year? So, it's kind of natural based on what, Ryan, you were saying.
I'm most excited about, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Uh-oh.
I'm most excited about going to summer camp at the new place we're going that will be announced shortly, but not yet.
Yes.
Keep your eyes out.
Yep.
Lord willing, it will happen.
Lord
Yes.
willing, I'm most excited about and looking forward to summer, June 2021, going to the new camp that we picked out that I am just absolutely stoked about. So there's a little sneak peek. You got to hear, if you listen to the podcast, you heard it here first.
Why are you excited about camp?
Because it's in.
Well, I mean, can't say where.
Just kidding.
I am most excited. I mean, camp for me is like one of my favorite things about student ministry. Like, I've got to go to so many camps, both as a high school student, in college, as an intern, on staff. Like, I've seen God work in a lot of people that are close to me and in my own life while at summer camps together. And the conversations that are had can't be beat. The relationships that grow can't be beat. The jokes, the stories, the laughter, and all of that with now an amazing, beautiful facility that's going to offer so many things to do.
Pretty pumped about this. I'm not even. Wow.
Yes.
You've sold me, Steven.
I love it, man.
I can keep going, but you listen to the podcast, you get some sneak peek information. So there you go.
That's nice.
Love it.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
What about you, Ace?
Josh? No, I can go. I am most excited about, so I've got something that I'm doing, which is leadership development for the students. So I've started a new kind of initiative that I rolled out this semester for high school students, trying to kind of change the culture as far as getting students to own youth group more. And a handful of the high school students have really, really latched onto it and are taking it. And I am most excited to see them run. And I personally, I grew up Grace Fellowship Church. Even I grew up in church. I grew up in youth group. And the reason why I wanted to do student ministry and why I wanted to serve on the sound team or play drums in the worship band was because of the older students that I saw doing that. And because I saw, the young leaders who I thought were cool, who cared about me, and I wanted to be like them. And so these high school students, I'm really excited to invest in them more. And I think I'm trusting that, I think that it's really going to impact the middle school and younger students in the student ministry. So I'm most excited to see and give these high school students more responsibilities and watch what God's going to do with it, with the other students. So
that's cool. Yeah, I feel like I'm, like we were kind of joking / kind of serious about at the beginning. Like, we just don't know what 2021 is actually going to bring. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm excited to see what the Lord is going to want to do. I I feel like, there are things that happened over this past year that were really hard, and not getting to meet for a while except for on Zoom, and just all these different things. Like, that was hard, but there are also ways that we saw the Lord work. And I think I'm just excited to see, like, man, Lord, what do you have for this year? Like, what are you going to do this year? So anyways, I'm all about exploring and seeing what does the Lord have. So yeah, I'm excited. What about you, Ryan?
Well, I feel like I'm already accomplishing one of the things I'm excited about, which is to be on the Couch Time podcast.
Boom.
I've been a fan for so long, a loyal listener on the pod. So to be a part of it is exhilarating. So I'm excited about that for 2021. So that's number one. I think number two, moving to a new place. I don't know many people. I'm kind of glad I'm in this place, regardless, hopefully, of what happens with COVID. I'll be able to meet people and get to know people and develop relationships. So whatever ministry looks like, whatever way that we do it, no matter what happens, I'll get to meet people and develop relationships. I'm most looking forward to meeting parents, volunteer team, students, and just building those relationships, I think, will be my primary focus for my first year here, so 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
Looking forward to working with these guys and interviewing and meeting with them during my time. I was like, yes, I'm excited to meet to work with the three of you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that, learning from you and getting to know all the things that happen at Grace. So I'm excited for that as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have a question that I'd like to ask towards the end. So Aaron and Steven, I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but
we're towards the end.
We're towards the end, so just go for it. All right. So thinking if this podcast is about parents and trying to give them tools.
Yes. Okay.
So think along those lines. What are some just general things you've been? This is the third church you've been at. So you interned at one. You were the guy at your last church. What are some specific things you would encourage parents towards, or have you seen there be, whether it's, hey, just asking your kid this thing or whatever, just engaging with them, is there a kind of tool and encouragement that you can give to parents just from your past experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of my, like a heartbeat of my philosophy of ministry is it's a word we use a lot, is partner with parents. Like, what can I do to not be the primary spiritual influence in a student's life, but really to help parents to be the primary spiritual influence. And especially when I was in Tennessee, it was sometimes a little bit discouraging, but not to put pressure on parents, but the long term 90%.
No, put the pressure on parents.
Throw it on. Okay, so I saw this a little bit less in Boulder. I don't know if it was the cultural context, but especially in Tennessee, it felt like 99% of the time we would get kids coming through student ministry, but where they went after high school and middle school was entirely dependent upon the dad. And what I saw was, if dad is walking with the Lord, man, like the odds of their child walking with the Lord went up just exponentially. Not that always happens. You have, like, my dad is not a believer, and here I am, right? So
statistics show that, though. It's very,
I'm sure. And so, like, that is huge for me. And so when we were in Tennessee, it almost felt like, what are we even, like, what I'm doing here is point, like, it matters how the parents are influencing kids spiritually. Are you having, not to jam it down students' throats or whatever, but are you reading the word with your child? Are you having really honest and transparent conversations with your student? Are you creating a safe place for your child to have conversations with you as well, making them feel comfortable but not judged for the things that they do? They're going to mess up. How do we help you all as parents to have those types of conversations? I don't have all the answers, but I'd like to do everything I can to help parents just create a really sweet relationship with their child so that they set them up to be a disciple of Jesus. So excited to learn from you guys and from parents as well, and have conversations about that on the pod.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I think it'll be fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
I'm loving the pod. This is the first time we've ever called it that.
I was gonna say that I heard that too. It's like that's.
I like it.
I feel like
The
it's
pod.
podcast lingo. It's what my sports podcasts say. The
they said
pod.
The pod.
Yeah.
The pod. Interesting. The spot. Well,
Oh,
we'll work on
no.
it.
I knew that was coming. See,
Yep.
I knew it was coming.
Tell you about that one later.
Inside
All
jokes.
right. Yes. Well, parents, we are excited to do more podcasts with Ryan in the future, and we're obviously praying for you guys, and especially I know Boone County and I think it's Kenton County, right? They went virtual today.
Oh.
Is that true?
No,
I think
It's
there was like
some schools did.
Okay.
Some schools
not
did.
all though.
Right. So there's just a lot of
Actually, it's funny. One school started back in person because they had shut down for 2 weeks, and then today was their first day back.
and then
but it's like
right.
it's not going to last long, I don't think. So
Right. Yeah. So we know this is a weird time. I was just having a conversation with a parent earlier this morning, and we know this is weird. We know this is hard for a lot of you. And we just want to let you know, like, we are praying for you guys. We do want to do what we can to support you all. And so we love you guys. Have a blessed week, and we will talk with you next week.